Thank you for spending some of your time with us. My name is Tina Rosenquist, and this is Knowledge for Wellness. And this show is to enhance your overall understanding of information provided to you, because when you know more, you are empowered to make better decisions to enhance yourself and your loved ones for a better quality of life. And today I'm delighted to present Dr. Daniel Barrett of Vibrant Life Center located in Oakdale, North St. Paul. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you could join us.
Great to be on Knowledge for Wellness.
Thank you. And today we're going to be talking about the influenza, of course, which is known as the flu. And I wanted to point out to our viewers that you have the right, again, to make your own decisions. Dr. Barrett's here to give us his professional opinion on this.
Right. Yeah, most people have heard the phrase, no shots, no school.
Yes.
It's never been true. There's always a line on the form. You know, you just sign on the form and get your signature notarized. Any or all, whatever shots it is, you can't do or disagree with.
So as a parent, I guess basically when you're looking at if you want to have your child vaccinated for the flu, that is your right to decline that.
Yeah, in my opinion, you should have your signature notarized to do that instead of the other way around. You have to take the extra step to notarize that you're well informed and you understand your decision not to vaccinate, when in fact it's clear that people are getting vaccinated and they have no idea what the ingredients of the vaccine are. They have no idea what risk they're taking or what risk they're averting, other than what they hear. You don't want to get the flu, and this is what you do.
Right.
I'm so glad you brought up that decision, but people always ask me, yeah, but what about school? You got to have your shots for school or daycare. Just clear that up. That's what it's about. That's what the form is about.
Okay.
You do not have to be vaccinated to go to school. I'd like to be very clear with your viewers about that. That is not the law of the land.
Okay.
What the law of the land is, the Commissioner of Health has to collect from the superintendent of the school districts the vaccine status of the student population and then return that information to the Commissioner of Health. That's what the law says. It doesn't say you have to be vaccinated to go to school. It says the school has to collect the vaccine status of your children. Okay. That's all it ever said.
I basically, of course, want to touch on the difference. We normally get the flu. The flu season comes around every year, October, November type of season. But I wanted to have you touch on the difference between the H1N1 swine flu as we know it, and also the difference between the regular flu season.
Well, there's a couple important points about it. One is in terms everybody's concerned about, do I want to get the flu? Do I want to risk getting the flu, or should I get myself vaccinated? I mean, that's the main point. I mean, how dangerous is H1N1? And you can't get up in the morning without watching the news, and I was watching it with my wife, and it seemed to be about every 8 to 15 minutes there would be an H1N1 something on the news somewhere. You couldn't even go a half an hour without hearing about it. You can't get out of your house. So it is a very big concern that people have. But recognize H1N1 is another strain, just like every other year. There's flu coming around every year, and every year the CDC tells us that 30 to 40,000 people die from the flu. And I don't know if you know, have you heard that, that those numbers aren't really accurate, that people really die of complications or other, not the flu itself, but because they had other health concerns, other health issues.
Right.
So in start, when you talk about, is it a pandemic, is it people want to know, is it dangerous to me and my family?
Right.
I mean, you read the paper, it's all over the country, all over the world.
Well, that's who we're concerned about, of course, is our family and our loved ones. And, do I need to go ahead and, be preventative and that type of thing?
Yeah, so then look around you and say, okay, well, how many people here are really, dying of H1N1 versus any other flu season? I mean, if you're not a person who vaccinates for the flu generally, I would think that would be your question. Is this really, really more dangerous, or is this, kind of hyped up kind of stuff?
Right.
So, the numbers don't bear that out. I think at present, and this is the end of September, at present I think internationally, worldwide, there's been 1,500 or 1,700 deaths. Contrast that to every year in the U.S., they're saying 30 to 40,000 from any strain, any given ordinary influenza A or B or whatever the general year strain is. So, H1N1, honestly, no more dangerous than any other year.
Right. Now I understand, that they go to Asia, in prediction of what's going to be coming with the flu, and they have that time that they want to go ahead and look into the different strains that are going to hit the U.S. within that flu season. And by doing so, they're guessing as to what's going to come here. And if the flu shot, what they put into it actually does arrive, then that's a hit or miss type of situation.
Yeah, it's like one in five, I think. Is actually 5 major strains that come around, and we know it's not going to be last year's, so it's a little bit less than 1 in 5 because you get last year for free. So it's going to be 1 in 4 because you're not going to pick last year's.
Okay.
So, but you're right in concept. You're guessing, you're making your best guess. You go get a vaccine for influenza A, and an H1N1 or another type of flu vaccine comes around.
Okay. So we've already been established that it has been established as a pandemic. Okay, so what happens when the government refers to a communicable disease as a pandemic then?
The big thing, the really big thing, and I believe the reason this was done is because the government had set up parameters with the drug companies to manufacture this vaccine for them, and they had contracted to buy, I think initially 300 million doses. And then subsequently had made plans to make 600 million doses. Now, there's only 300 million people in the US, right? So who does that tell you they're going after? Or who do they want to vaccinate? If you think you were going to have some choice in the matter and they ordered 300 million doses, no, they're going to make this really, really a big push. They're going to make absolutely certain that every man, woman, and child and pregnant person and everybody is going to get this vaccine. So they ordered this, and this is a little bit into politics. They ordered this from the pharmaceutical industry. They got the pharmaceutical companies to gear up and make this vaccine. And now you're seeing kind of a pushback from the public going, hey, we're not so sure that H1N1 is such a big deal. I'm not so sure. I'm a pregnant person. I'm not so sure this is safe. And by the way, the testing is something I'd like to talk further about. But politically, this is what you've got. You've got the government who asked the vaccine manufacturers to do this. They did it. Now the government's got to pony up and pay these guys because, hey, where are they going to be next year on this? And then on the other side of the coin, you got the CDC now pushing everybody to use up this vaccine, even though in the face of the evidence, H1N1 isn't as dangerous as was advertised, even though people are starting to learn to take health into their own hands to take care of themselves, and you see some of that in the wash your hands, and even to the extreme of some people are wearing masks. But that's what's going on. There's starting to be some pushback about it.
Okay. Because people are getting more knowledge on themselves. They're actually researching a lot and making a private decision for themselves and their family also.
Well, in a lot of cases, that's really, and isn't that what you do for your family?
Well, actually, I kind of let the CDC I have a blind faith with them, which now I guess I want to do a little bit. No, I don't, but.
The CDC said you should.
I know. But I chose not to because of my DNA and my history and exactly what happened to my mom.
Which is exactly what you should do. Yeah, it's exactly what you should do. And there's kind of a sad story in my office just last week, 2 weeks ago, in fact. A gal I went to junior high with. I grew up in the area. So this gal I know, I went to junior high with, Maplewood. She ran a daycare in North St. Paul. Went to get the flu shot as recommended. All daycare providers, all the daycare attendees,
and
go
the
get
health
your
officials.
flu shot. Right, go get your flu shot. And I don't know if the viewers know what Guillain-Barré syndrome is, but it's a complication of the flu shot, a side effect of the flu shot where it damages your nervous system so badly. She used to run a daycare. Now she's in daycare.
That's
she
sad.
is pushed around in a wheelchair. She has personal care attendants. This all developed. Her health crashed within 3 weeks of getting the flu shot. She was hospitalized for weeks. She's now her legs are completely paralyzed. She's lost all the muscle mass in her legs. And it's so sad. I mean, okay, people die of the flu. It is not a 47-year-old, otherwise healthy young woman. Right. People who die, as complications of the flu have other health concerns.
Right. People of elderly that, this flu ends up getting into pneumonia.
Right. And by the way, the elderly are on an average of 13.5 prescriptions per year. They already